This evening, first, a senior officer charged with sexual assault, Deputy Superintendent Carl Wilson, is facing accusations of misconduct involving a junior colleague. We'll have the details on the case and how it's shaking the Guyana police force. Plus, a reformed thief is back in court. Jamal Cromwell, a construction worker, denies stealing $2 million from a money changer. Why did he say he didn't take the cash? Despite riding off with the bike it was hidden in. In Region 10, a severe storm leaves dozens of homes in Linden without roofs. The government has mobilized emergency aid to help residents recover from the devastation. Also, big changes in international adoption. Ghana is set to resume adoptions within a week. What new safeguards are being put in place to protect children and prevent exploitation? Finally, Democrats in Texas are accusing Republicans of voter intimidation ahead of the U.S. presidential election. The latest on the escalating political tensions. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for September 26, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Deputy Superintendent of Police Carl Wilson, formerly stationed at the Criminal Investigative Department, appeared before the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Wednesday to face 2 counts of sexual assault against a junior colleague. The charges stem from alleged incidents that occurred in April and June 2024 at the Kingston Seawall area in Georgetown, involving a male police constable. 47-year-old Wilson of Rose Hall Town, Quarantine Berbice, pleaded not guilty to both charges. Principal Magistrate Faith Auguste set bail at $75,000 for each offense, totaling $150,000. The case has been adjourned for further proceedings on October 16, 2024. The investigation was launched following a complaint made on June 8, 2024. According to the reports, the 2 officers were out together when Wilson allegedly made inappropriate sexual advances towards the constable. As a result, the Guyana Police Force relieved Wilson of his duties to facilitate the investigation, eventually leading to the formal charges being brought against him. The matter has drawn attention to the handling of misconduct cases within the police force as authorities continue to emphasize a zero-tolerance approach to any form of abuse or harassment. On a different note, 31-year-old Jamal Cromwell, a construction worker and reformed thief, was placed on bail for simple larceny when he appeared before the Georgetown Magistrates Court on Wednesday, September 25th. Cromwell appeared before Principal Magistrate Faith Auguste, who read the charge to him, to which he pleaded not guilty. Cromwell, who has a history of theft, is accused of stealing $2 million in cash from money changer Carl Van Rossum on September 9, 2024, at the corner of Linden and America Street in Georgetown. According to the police report, Cromwell had pawned a motorcycle to Van Rossum at the exact location in January. On the day of the incident, Van Rossum reportedly parked the motorcycle with $2 million in cash stored under the seat. Cromwell was seen in the vicinity before he allegedly hopped on the motorcycle and rode off. Following an investigation, Cromwell was apprehended and questioned. He admitted to riding away with the motorcycle, but denied taking the money. Cromwell expressed remorse in court, saying he used to be a thief but did not take the money. He also added that this was his birthday. Magistrate Faith Auguste granted him bail set at $200,000 with the condition that he kept the peace. Cromwell is expected to return to court on October 23, 2024 for further proceedings. Also making the headlines today, on Wednesday, the government mobilized an emergency response to assist residents of Linden impacted by a severe storm that caused significant damage to homes in Region 10. The storm, which struck on Tuesday evening, ripped off the roofs of several houses, leaving families in Wisma and Mackenzie exposed to heavy rainfall and without shelter. Led by Minister of Public Works Bishop One Edgehill, a team visited over 33 affected households to assess the damage and distribute food and essential supplies. Minister Edgehill emphasized the government's commitment to restoring safety and shelter for the residents. The team, including local officials and engineers, is mobilizing regional contractors to facilitate urgent repairs. Minister Edgehill noted the extensive flooding caused by the storm, which has rendered some homes inhabitable and complicated recovery efforts with fallen trees and infrastructure damage. The Civil Defense Commission is also actively involved in emergency response, providing hot meals to residents who are unable to cook due to waterlogged conditions in their homes. As recovery efforts progress, The government is actively collaborating with local contractors and civil society organizations to expedite repairs and assist families in rebuilding their lives after this unfortunate event. Stick around when we return. Join the fight for a safer world. International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons 2024, and Police Corporal engages nursery school students in traffic safety education.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 hours, 13 hours to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit the website www.gcom.org.gy.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Ghana is set to restart international adoptions within a week, aligning with international standards under the Hague Convention on the Protection of Children and Inter-Country Adoption. This announcement was made by Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vinay Prasad, during an outreach at the Kane Field Health Center in Region 6 on Tuesday. The government has established the Ghana Central Authority to facilitate this process, which will oversee all international adoptions and ensure compliance with the recently passed Adoption of Children Amendment Act 2021. The authority, chaired by Minister Prasad, will work closely with countries that are part of the Hague Convention to safeguard the adoption process and prevent any improper financial gain. The authority will enforce strict guidelines, including thorough investigation, home studies, and background checks to ensure the child's well-being. Non-compliance will result in penalties such as fines and 6 months imprisonment. Additionally, the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security is expanding support for vulnerable children, offering foster care and adoption services, and providing financial assistance of $20,000 per month for orphans and those in foster care. On a lighter note, in an effort to promote traffic safety awareness among the youngest road users, Corporal Roberts from the Traffic Headquarters Education Department paid a special visit to Children Are Us Nursery School at Hurstel in East Bank Demerara on Tuesday. The interactive session, attended by 27 enthusiastic students and 4 teachers, focused on essential topics such as pedestrian safety rules, properly using pedestrian crossing, and understanding traffic lights. The children were eager to learn and actively participated throughout the presentation. The teachers expressed their gratitude for the session, noting how important it is for young children to know road safety rules early on. Corporal Roberts expressed his pleasure in engaging with the little ones and emphasized the importance of these sessions in laying the foundation for safer roads in the future. The visit is part of the Traffic Department's ongoing outreach program aimed at making road safety education accessible to all members of society, starting with the youngest. On September 26 annually, the United Nations celebrates a special day that encourages all countries to eliminate nuclear weapons. These weapons are incredibly powerful and can cause massive destruction, with over 70,000 of them existing around the world today. More than half of the global population lives in countries that either have nuclear weapons or are part of alliances that do. Nuclear weapons can wipe out entire cities and harm the environment, affecting future generations. A tragic example is the bombing of Hiroshima in Japan during World War II, which killed or injured around 150,000 people. The United Nations has long aimed to create a world without nuclear weapons. In December 2013, they established this day to raise awareness and encourage governments to understand the benefits of not having nuclear weapons. The Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons is part of the UN's ongoing efforts to promote disarmament. Don't go away after the break. Mexico's missing students. Families continue to look for answers 10 years on. And Sudan's army launches major offensive to retake Khartoum.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. How do smiles make fashionable faces? See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. It has been 10 years since the kidnapping and forced disappearance of 43 students in Mexico. The case attracted international attention as evidence suggested collusion between Mexican authorities and organized crime gangs. Al Jazeera's Julio Galean reports.
A candle has been burning on Adán Abraham's shrine for the past 10 years. That's how long it's been since his mother, Delfina, last saw him, when he was attacked and disappeared along with 42 of his classmates in Mexico's most flagrant example of authorities colluding with organized crime.
As a mother, I can't bring myself to say he is dead or alive because, frankly, I need scientific proof. If they're dead, the government should tell us where they are buried. But as long as we have no proof that says otherwise, as far as I am concerned, the government has them.
The 43 student teachers from the state of Guerrero disappeared after being attacked by local authorities following a protest. These were the last images of them, taken on a security camera, being driven away by police. An independent investigation concluded that local politicians, police, and the army worked in conjunction with drug cartels to disappear and presumably killed the students. The remains of only 3 of them have been found, but the investigation was abruptly ended, allegedly under government pressure.
Initially, there were results in the investigation, as more documents came to light that showed the involvement of the military in what happened. And that's when the relationship between the families and the government deteriorated, because government interests were being meddled with. And we know the army has a very important role in this country.
When he came to power, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador seemed sympathetic to the family's cause, calling it a state crime and promising to leave no stone unturned. But during his years in office, he said it's primarily a crime of local authorities and has denied any involvement by the army. Relatives say they have lost trust in the government's willingness to establish the facts.
Hundreds of these marches have taken place over the last decade, both here, near where the students were taken, and in Mexico City. But this movement has also been worn down by 10 years of hurdles and of dead ends. And there's a sense of real fear among its organizers, among its leaders, that they've lost the interest and the support of the Mexican public.
Today's students at the leftist indigenous school, all of whom were children when the 43 were taken, try to keep the movement alive.
Nothing has changed in these 10 years. We still face repression, harassment from the police. The government's strategies may be different, but the result is the same.
With no justice or any real answers over what happened that night, family members impacted by this tragedy fear it could easily happen again. Julia Galeano, Al Jazeera, Guerrero, Mexico.
Democrats in Texas have accused Republicans of orchestrating state-sponsored voter intimidation ahead of the U.S. presidential election. As tension escalates, Texas Democrats have formally requested the U.S. Department of Justice to step in. Al Jazeera's Heidi Zucastro reports.
23-year-old Giovanna Melendez says she has no idea why her name was struck from the Texas voter rolls.
I went to check right now and it's not in the system.
She just re-registered at this event hosted by Austin Community College. In August, Governor Greg Abbott announced the state removed more than 1 million names from the voting rolls since 2021, claiming they were deceased, non-citizens, or had moved from the state. None of that describes Melendez. She says she may have been purged because she's Hispanic, a group that historically supports Democrats.
It can get kind of scary, and I feel like that's just a way to kind of keep Democrats from voting for now. So.
In 2020, Donald Trump won Texas by the smallest margin for any Republican presidential candidate in more than 2 decades.
Can't ever accept when they steal and rig and rob.
The Republican National Committee plans to mobilize thousands of polling monitors in swing states in this election. Democrats will have monitors as well.
We will not be intimidated.
Meanwhile, Hispanic leaders in Texas are protesting a series of police raids of the homes of Democratic organizers. The raids were ordered as part of a state investigation into alleged voter fraud.
It's an effort to get our people to have some fear and possibly not register, even if they're eligible, and certainly not come out to vote.
Congressional Democrats from Texas have asked the U.S. Justice Department to investigate, and efforts continue to register as many voters as possible Texas has the lowest voter turnout in the country.
Here in the Democratic stronghold of Travis County, local leaders sent out voter registration forms to everyone that they found who was eligible to vote but not yet registered. The now state Republican leaders say that effort is illegal.
The leader of Travis County has filed a countersuit against the state in federal court.
I don't understand why any elected official, Democrat or Republican, would have any problem with that, of letting eligible voters vote in Texas.
Experts fear a growing trend of partisan election rules across the country, as Republicans in Georgia, Florida, and Arizona have also been accused of voter intimidation. Heidi Jo Castro.
Sudan's army has launched a major offensive in the capital Khartoum to regain ground held by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, Al Jazeera's Habib Morgan reports.
This footage was shot in the aftermath of battles between Sudan's army, supported by armed groups, and its rival, the Rapid Support Forces in El Fasher, the capital of North Darfur. This fighter says these vehicles were captured from the paramilitary RSF, which for months has been trying to take over the city, the last army stronghold in the region. It's one of several fronts where the two sides have been locked in intense confrontations since April last year. The RSF controls most of the south, the west, and central regions, while the army dominates in the north and the east. The fighting between the army and the RSF is also happening here in the capital. That's created a nationwide humanitarian crisis that aid groups say has become catastrophic. Nearly 1 in every 4 Sudanese is now displaced because of the violence, and half of the 48 million population is in need of humanitarian assistance. This school in Durman is one of dozens being used as temporary shelters. Aid organizations have been struggling to reach many of those in need because of the violence and the lack of funding.
We used to get lentils from a community kitchen for breakfast and rice for lunch. Now we don't get either. And those who are sick can't get treatment. Sometimes we get tea in the morning, sometimes we don't.
There is no official death toll. Observers say it could reach 150,000 in a conflict marred by sexual violence and the targeting of civilian areas. The UN has described the crisis in Sudan as a children's crisis. It says more than 4.6 million have been displaced since April 2023. Al-Safi is an orphan. His parents were killed by artillery fire.
His parents were really worried about him and his siblings. They left their home and came to our district to escape the fighting, but the artillery fired near them. The father died immediately, the mother on the way to the hospital.
More than 17 months into this conflict, aid organizations say the international community has forgotten about Sudan. And as the humanitarian situation worsens, many are calling on UN member states to pressure the warring parties into protecting civilians and ending the violence. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, Durman.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it, TV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 5:30 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.